Welcome back, my friends. I've got another juicy vid for you today. This one's actually pretty nice. Right now on the ladder, I have been doing exceptionally well against Zerg with all of their shenanigans and everything, and I just got into Diamond as protoss, and I figured out how to stop a really nasty baneling bust, and I want to kind of share it with you guys and kind of give you some advice. So this is the build that the Zerg is going to do, and I've seen this 3 or 4 times on the ladder. It wasn't so much a big build when I was playing Zerg about a year ago, but I've seen this same build a couple times. I don't know if it was this barcode every time, but this barcode is unranked. Just he does this all the time. But it's a pretty decent build. His build order was pretty good. So for Zerg, the build orders are all -1 for your buildings because it takes a drone. So it's 14 hatch, 14 gas, 14 pool opener, and then he makes just a whole heck of a lot of Zerglings and Banelings, and he hit me right at about this is a total all-in from him. He all-ins completely. Then he hits me from about 3 minutes to 4 minutes. Right about 3 and 4 minutes is when he attacks. So this is a pretty fast attack. So I want to go over it and see and kind of show you what I'm doing and what I do about this. So I want to give you kind of a setup about this. So he's diamond. This was still when I was in platinum, but I hit into diamond after a couple of these videos. So I'm just gonna put it on my camera, and since you know what he's doing, since I already went over that build order, I'm just gonna tell you what I was doing and how I reacted to it. And there's a couple things that you could do to kind of like take your own liberty with this this build. But I'll put down my Zerg versus Protoss build that I've been using with super good success on the ladder. I'll put that up. Maybe it'll be in my tomorrow's video, so check that out. It'll be PVZ build order. But sorry, I'm just jumping back and forth. Got the APM for it, so I'm just playing around. But I scout off the pylon to see if he's going hatch first or pool first. So right here, I see this. So let's talk about this spot right here. 52 seconds, I see that he's already got a hatch down, and it's about 1/4 of the way done already, which I now know this means he took it at 14 supply. The Zerg took this at 14 supply, his first building. So what this isn't is it's not a 13-12, it's not any of that stuff, so I do have a little bit more of a depth before Zerglings hit my base, but he does want larva count, and he doesn't want to get this base blocked. So this is what's going on. So I'm going to go and check to see when he's going to take his third, and I'm just checking across there, and hopefully I can get, so let's talk about what I did with the probe here. Let's talk about this for a little bit. So this probe is rallied from this base to this base. Now what I'm doing with this is I'm trying to hit 3 points. If he's going to take his third out here, or if he's going to send the units or something like that, I'm hopefully able to get one of these 3 points. And by about 2 minutes, I'm going to go and check in his base again. But this is kind of what I'm doing with my build right now. So right at this point, I'm not changing anything with my build. I'm not changing anything with this build right now. Because how you hold a Bane bust is you make your second base, and you hold your second base. So I'm constantly checking back to see if I'm going to miss anything. Because there's nothing really going on in my main base right now. I'm just making workers. So as much as this is scary, take a second, take a natural, and then put your cyber down. 150 supply. Boom, cyber. It goes into the gas, and I'm going to keep making workers. So this is when I'm going to start going in to see, okay, what's going on? Wait until about 2 minutes. Don't go in really before 2 minutes because the hatch isn't going to be done, and you're not going to see what he's doing with it. Right, so pylon at 22. This is all the good stuff. All good things. Close this up. So you're out of supply. Make more pylon. It's done. Now we're instantly going to make Adept. And now we're going to go in. So as soon as I start my Adept, I'm going to go into base and I start up my warp gate. Because I'm going to want to be able to warp as soon as I can. Big call. I see Zerglings on the ramp, more than 4, and he has no workers in his base. This means he's all-inning. Hardcore, he's all-inning. So, brace for impact time. I'm just getting out of there. So, number one thing I'm going to do is hard wall off. Hard wall off if you see this. Don't try to hold it with a unit. Hard wall off. And as soon as your first unit is done, very important, you make, oh, I'm going to drop a robo. You make a sentry. There it is. Yeah, you make a sentry. You make a sentry. This is very important that you make that sentry first. Now, here's another kind of, here's the part that you can kind of take as you like. You can go Twilight, you can go Robo, or you can go Stargate, or you can go more gates. At this level in low diamond, high platinum, low diamond, it doesn't really matter what your follow-up is. It's all about holding the wall. And you hold the wall with Adept and Sentry. That's how you hold this wall. So I've got 3 gates, or I've got 2 gates, and I could make a 3rd gate, but I'm going to try to get some tech because I want to be able to push across the map after I hold. I'm planning on holding this, and I want to get across the map. Now, what you're not going to notice is I'm not making a ton of workers. I'm not making a ton of workers right now because all I need to do to defend this is keep this second base alive. And if I can hold his first wave, I am at such an advantage because if you're on the same amount of workers as a Zerg, you're ahead. And if he doesn't kill all of my units with a Bane bust, I'm ahead. So I'm going to want to get ahead a little bit on workers, but don't overdo it. Don't make like 40 workers or anything like that yet. So I'm sending the probe back out to see when the Zerglings are coming. I'm trying to keep the probe out in the main line because he's going to be coming across ASAP. So as soon as that's done, another sentry. Keep making sentries to hold. And as soon as your second gate's done, you're going to want to start making more adepts and such like that. So I see it coming. 3 minutes, 20 seconds, it's coming across. I'm going to make an adept. I've got a sentry. And now let's talk about control. Let's talk about control. Here it comes. Now, what he's going to try to do with his Zerglings is get surface area around my buildings to weaken them before the banelings pop. So right now, he's just attacking with this because I think his baneling nest is done. He's just not morphed the banelings yet. So again, not the crispest, I don't know how to say it, the crispest build, the most crisp build. There it is. But still very good. So what you're going to want to do with the sentry is stop his surface area by putting a force field around so the Zerglings can't attack a building. My second one's going to pop. I've got another one around so he can't attack any of these buildings. Now, word of advice, keep your gateways rallied backwards. Now, I'm making an immortal because I see him making banelings right now. Immortals can take a lot of baneling hits, which is why I go immortal if I think there's a big cheese coming. You could go Stargate and get some oracles, put some stasis wards up, or like zap all the Zerglings and stuff like that. But if I'm going to go push across the map, I'm going to want an immortal, and I'm going to want to completely kill his stuff. So the reason I walled off and got a robo facility is if I get a full wall off, I don't want to break one of my buildings to get across. I want to make a warp gate and then get across. So this is another little thing I'm thinking about, but really that's kind of per player what your reaction wants to be. I'm talking about the hold right now. So sentries and adepts as much as you can and force field these walls. Now, next step of this. I see it coming. Big thing is I'm out of force fields. I'm almost there for a second one, but I'm out of force fields, so I'm going to take some damage. Now, notice that I have this probe over here. The most important thing you got to do is get ready for the wall off. Get ready for the second level of wall off. So I'm going to try to save my force fields if I don't need it. I see that gateway's getting close, so I'm going to hard wall off. And And there it is. Now, as soon as I get out, I have my force fields ready with this. I've got my warp gate on the way. I've held his attack. I'm going to make sure that my units can get out. I'm going to get a third and fourth gate. Attack, move across. So as soon as you hold it, you need to defend. You need to counterattack. So hold on, here we go. I'm kind of trying to talk about this as much as I can. Talk a little bit more about control here too. Sentries are really your main unit. Got these dudes in there, and because I don't want to get hit with another big attack, I'm gonna hard wall off again. All right, now, so let's talk about that. As soon as I held the second push, I pushed out across the map. But I don't really have the force I want to yet. I want to have this warp prism over here so I can continuously warp in attacks on this side. After that, wall off. And then I'm going to keep making immortals over here. This is kind of a mistake. Again, I should kind of maybe focus on my drone count or my worker count and get more gates. But I was just so happy I held this this push for the first time ever. So let's go back to my control now. I'm warping in Zealots, but again, this is another little mistake. If you're going against banelings, you don't want to have Zealots because they're just going to die to the banelings. You want to do Zealots as maybe a second warp in after all the banelings are dead. But you're save the energy on your sentries, and I'll show you what I do with my sentries. So I see all this, trying to pick it off so he can't get the surround on me. I'm going to move the sentries up, get the queen, which is big. Then you're going to want to try to block, because he's going to want to try to come down with banelings or something. I didn't put the perfect position on this. But with your sentries, you're going to want to block this ramp. And you're going to want to kill this hatchery. This whole build is based on his larva. And if I kill this hatch, if we look, he doesn't have another hatch. This is an all-in from him. You're supposed to win with that baneling bust, but he didn't. I held it. So now he's trying to get larva off of 2 bases. I just killed one of his queens that's trying to inject. And now I'm going to kill his hatchery. And what you don't want to have is all of these Zerglings run down and surround you. So you wall them in. If they run up there, if they're not down here, you wall them in. If you see them in a nice spot, you wall off your army so they can't attack you, and you attack. So again, not the best wall here. Not the best wall on my side, but this is what I'm trying to do. So now I get it. I wall off again, and I'm going to run away. I don't want to attack the broodlings. I'm fine with this. Now, I'm supply blocked because I'm a noob. I'm going to move up a little bit. And now here's the biggest part. Now watch this. So Zerglings, what the Zerglings are want to do again is get their surface area around you. So what you do? Sentries. Again, these sentries are your most valuable units. And now that he doesn't have any banelings anymore, it's Zealot City. Zealots just slice and dice banelings. I'm going to open up all my gates. And now we push forward. We get the Zealots up front. And he actually just left the game. So let's kind of recap a little bit about this. I'm just going to put it back at the beginning with times 4 speed this time. Good luck, have fun. Or times 8 speed, let's just watch it. No, times 4 is fine. So first thing I want to do is I scout off the pylon. I see he's going very early hatch. I'm going to keep on keeping over here. As soon as I get my first adept started, I'm going to go in and check to see what's going on. I could go up into the main. But I don't want the queen, or, you know, it's one way to do it. But I really don't know what I'm scouting for. So here we go. No drones. I see lings. Alright, this is an all-in. Hard wall. So up to 3 gates. And keep the probe out on the map so you can see if he's coming. I go robo. Get a sentry as soon as you can. Get a second sentry as soon as you can. When the Zerglings are attacking, use the shields to block the surface area. Attack. If you see that the wall is coming down, build a secondary wall. As soon as you defend that, push across the map. I get a warp prism so I can do more damage. As soon as you get across the map, make sure you still have sentries. Make sure you try to kill the hatch or the queens. If you can get both like I did, even better. Run out, save your sentries, keep warping in. Don't get supply blocked like a big ol' noob. Use the sentries to block the surface area. And walk up and GG. So I hope you learned something about this. There's a lot of variety with holding one of these bases, holding one of these base races. Again, I go Robo because I like the Immortal for the tank, the tanking of the Bane hits. But you could go into Twilight and then get a quick Templar Archives and just do a charge Archon all-in. You could do a Sentry Immortal all-in, which is kind of what I've been doing if I'm doing any all-ins against Zerg, is just Sentry Immortal with charge lots when I run out of gas on like 8 or 9 gate on 2 bases. If I have to all in on just 2 gas, it's a really good build, by the way. Yeah, sentries are the key to holding these attacks, and the more sentries you have, the better your defense is. So I hope you learned something. Hope your MMR points are going up, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.